Hi everybody, my name is Professor Charlie Collins. I will be teaching your BIS 315 course this quarter, Understanding Statistics. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. I really enjoy and appreciate statistics. I want to take a moment here and give you guys a video and do a short introduction. Since this is a hybrid course, we have limited time in the classroom, so I'm going to spend a lot of time on videos. So you guys will have a lot of videos. So today, I just have my notes up here on my computer. Today, with this video, I want to give you a personal introduction of who I am and where I come from and why I do statistics and the research that I do. Purpose of the class, I want to review the syllabus, talk about academic integrity, academia generally, I know it's a weird place for many of us, and talk about graduate school. So we'll go through all of these. I know it's a little jumbled and we have a lot going on today, but I'm going to try to get it all in here fairly quickly. So first, as I mentioned, my name is Dr. Charlie Collins. I prefer if you call me Professor Collins or Dr. Collins. We can get into the nuances of that if you would like. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm originally from Riverside, California, also San Bernardino, which is about 60 miles east of LA. I went to school at the University of California, Riverside. I went to Chico State in California, in Northern California, and then I did my PhD in community psychology at Michigan State University. I am a first-generation college graduate and college student for that matter, so I do know a lot about that, and I know that academia and higher education is a very strange place for many of us from first-generation families. It's still weird to me. So if you are first generation, let's talk about that, and I'm happy to provide my insight and guidance wherever I can. So, and I welcome you. Welcome to the class. My research generally is on issues of inequality, civic engagement, and activism. And so if you're interested in those topics, I have a research team that is constantly working and collecting data and analyzing data and conducting research on these topics. So for those of you interested in research and interested in graduate school, come chat with me. I usually have space for students. My goal for this class is my hope is that you will be more scientifically and statistically literate by the end of this quarter. And what I mean by that is that statistics and various statistical claims are often thrown out there for marketing, to manipulate behavior, to manipulate policies. And what I want you to do is be able to leave this classroom and being able to interrogate some of those claims and really think about the statistics that they're using and if they're good statistics or not. Statistics are important because they're used all the time, as I mentioned. And they're used to manipulate behavior, they're used to manipulate policies, and they're used to shape our thoughts and beliefs and behaviors. So I just want to share a couple statistics here that I've heard in the past several years that have been used to do this. So, and I quote here, this is from Senator John Kyle, and this is a quote that he stated on the floor of the Senate chamber. And he said, quote, "Everybody goes to clinics, to doctors, to hospitals, so on. Some people go to Planned Parenthood. But you don't have to go to Planned Parenthood to get your cholesterol or your blood pressure checked. If you want an abortion, you go to Planned Parenthood, and that's well over 90% of what Planned Parenthood does." Right? Again, this is Republican Senator John Kyle from Arizona. The actual budget of Planned Parenthood that they allot to abortions is about 3%. And not one penny of that is used from federal funds. It's from other sources. They're actually not legally allowed to use federal funding for abortions. It's against the law. And so they use other funds that are more discretionary. So this is just one example of how statistics can be used to manipulate policy and manipulate the way people think about a particular policy, and in this case, Planned Parenthood, a specific organization. There's statistics in marketing, right? So I've seen things like when you need an extra boost, take 1 5-hour energy, right? So for us, we have to think about how we measure boost. What does boost really mean? And that really gets at statistics and what statistics is about. And we see statistics in everyday life. So I'm going to quote a few things here. First quote, in 2013, young people ages 15 to 19 represented only 7% of the U.S. population. However, they accounted for 11%, $10 billion, of the total cost of motor vehicle injuries. And this is for the Center for Disease Control. Another quote here, only 9% of women and 2% of men say they've found a relationship at a bar or club. Blame it on the beer goggles. This is from Match.com. And finally, according to their project on student debt, 68% of 2015 bachelor's degrees recipients graduated with student loan debt. Average was $30,100 per borrower. So we see statistics all around us. It's used for marketing. It's used to get us to change the way that we think about things or think about things in a particular way. So again, to reiterate, right, we see these statistics. And so my goal my hope is that you will leave this classroom being more statistically literate and being able to see things like those statistics and having a critical eye toward them, right? So what I'd like you to do, and this is your first ungraded homework, is as you move about the world, and I will bring this up in the first class, as you move about the world, I want you to find one statistic or some claim that you've seen. If you watch TV, if you're on social media, if you're on the computer at all, you will see some sort of claim or some sort of statistic. I can guarantee it because it's in marketing all the time. So keep an eye out for those statistics. All right. Before we move on to anything else, we have to get into the nitty-gritty of the classroom. So I want to take a moment and go over the syllabus and go through the syllabus. So what I'd recommend here is taking the syllabus that I sent you and pulling that out, and we can kind of go through that together. All right? So I'll give you a second to do that, and we will walk through the syllabus. So hopefully you have it open. If not, go ahead and pause the video and open it up. So I want to talk about let's talk about the hybrid course design in this classroom. What we will be doing is we'll be meeting once a week on Tuesdays. And the other day we will not be meeting in the classroom. On the other day of the week, on Thursdays, at the same time, between 8:45 and 10:45, we'll be meeting online. That is, I understand that people have lives and people have things going on, so it's not going to be a formal meeting. And what I mean by that is I will hold a discussion section. I will likely discuss what we talked about during the week and answer questions. So I'll give a brief overview and answer any questions that you may have. So it would be wise for you to come prepared with questions to that discussion section. It'll be a video section. We'll use Zoom, and you don't have to video into Zoom. You can actually call. So I will send an email each week that will have that information on it. My office is in UW1 353, so that's on the 3rd floor of UW1. Our classroom is in UW1 120, and that's the computer lab. So we'll be using computers nearly every single day. Have a statement of academic freedom. We can skip over that. Course materials. I have a textbook that's free to you. I know textbooks are crazy expensive. So I have a textbook called Statistics for People Who Think They Hate Statistics. It's only the 3rd edition. So if you want a newer edition, feel free to buy one. I think it's up to the 6th or 7th edition now. What I ask of you is that we will be following the 3rd edition, so make sure you're on the same topic if you have a different edition, not the chapter number, because chapter 10 in edition 6 may be different than what chapter 10 is in the 3rd edition. So just make sure we're on the same edition. We're going to be using Canvas as our website. Get a hold of IT if you have any issues. I'm really bad with Canvas, so I'm not going to be much help. Other materials we have here are Microsoft Excel. All campus computers have Microsoft Excel. Unfortunately, Macintosh, Apple computers don't have the necessary stats package that we need in Excel. You can do most of the things in your Apple computer that you can do in a PC, but the stats package that we use is not going to be there. I know some people can do kind of like a switch thing where they switch back and forth between operating systems. If you know how to do that, awesome. I'm not an Apple user, so I'm also not good there. That might be another IT thing. You may need a calculator. We're not going to use calculators very often. Phones and Excel have plenty of capacity. You don't need to buy a computer or a calculator. And then you need access to a computer, tablet, or other device where you can call into the video chats or video into the video chats. I'm going to skip over the course description. You can read that on your own. Classroom structure, let's talk about that for a second. So I want this my goal here is to have a collaborative learning space. We're not in the classroom very often, so you're going to be working primarily independently. I will have you do various in-class assignments and activities where you will work in groups. Just get to know the people around you. And also know that in statistics, undergraduate statistics are taught basically the same in every department in the country and every program, right? So we're going over the same concepts. Thinking back to the course materials, I would highly, highly, highly recommend you use YouTube. YouTube has literally hundreds, if not thousands, of videos on statistics and statistics in Excel. If I forget how to do something in Excel, I go to YouTube and I watch a video about it, and it reminds me how to do it. So if my videos aren't helpful enough, if I'm not explaining something clear enough, or if you don't like the sound of my voice, go to YouTube and find another video, because I can guarantee you there's going to be another video on the exact same topic that may explain it better than I do. So use YouTube very openly. Let's talk about our ungraded activities and materials. So we have our reading, mini lectures, and online discussions. As I mentioned before, read before coming to class. Mini lectures are going to be videos like this. They should probably be shorter, and they're going to be discussed. You're to watch those outside of the class. So I'm not going to give huge lectures in the class. I will go over the topics and make sure you understand them, but classroom time is going to be more active learning. And then we'll have our online discussions on Thursdays. So please come to those. They'll likely be helpful for you. Graded activities and assignments, we're going to have discussion posts. So what I would like you to do in Canvas is post a discussion and also answer a discussion or comment on another discussion. So there should be two things there. You should post a discussion about the topic of the week and then answer something, right? So these can be if you're unclear about something, if you need some extra advice about something, post that. There's going to be 6 random in-class assignments. Those are going to be given at my discretion at some point in time throughout our 10 meetings. 6 of those will include in-class assignments. They're credit, no credit. If you're there and you participate and you do the work, you're going to get the credit for it. If you're not, you don't. Concept assessments are like small exams. I haven't created any yet, so I'm not sure exactly the values on each, but they'll probably be about 15 to 20 questions each, and they're short quizzes to assess your understanding of the material presented in the previous week. And then finally, Excel workshop assignments. As I mentioned, most of the classes will have some Excel component, and then there will be an assignment attached to that will be due the next class. Let's talk about grading policies. I don't accept late work. It says under any circumstances, but there are some circumstances. But they're extreme circumstances. So I'm not usually very. I don't usually accept late work. So if it's late, don't turn it in unless it's an extreme circumstance. You can appeal a grade. Read the course appeals, grade appeals piece. Our grading here is discussion posts are 20%, random in-class assignments are 20%, the concept assessments and Excel workshops are 30% each. And you can see the grading criteria there. Course policies, procedures, norms, etc. Don't be a jerk, right? I mean, just be a good person. We'll all be good persons. I don't need to go into much detail about this. So I do want to talk about academic integrity and plagiarism here for a second. Unfortunately, it is absolutely up to you to know the plagiarism and academic integrity rules. So academic integrity is sort of like being pulled over by a cop. If you say you didn't know it was a law that you broke, it doesn't matter. That cop's still going to give you a ticket. Unfortunately, in academia, the consequences are much, much worse. You could be expelled from campus. You could be expelled from school for academic dishonesty. And so that means plagiarizing. That means copying somebody else's work. That means somebody doing the work for you. And plagiarism has a really, really fine line. So I would highly recommend you read up on these things, on the academic misconduct and academic integrity. It's really important, and unfortunately, I tend to find one or two cases every year of students plagiarizing or doing something just sometimes really boneheaded, and they didn't think about it, right? So it's up to you to understand that. Respect for diversity, I think, goes with just don't be a jerk to people. Missing class, I understand. People have lives. We all have lives. We get sick. You have an emergency with your family. You need to go into your job. I get it. I honestly don't need to know about it. So if you need to see what we did in class, feel free to talk to a peer, email somebody, post a discussion, and that can count toward your discussion post, right? And just say, I have no idea what we did in class. Can somebody please help me out? And somebody should respond to that. So, yeah, I get it. Life happens. So that's fine. The schedule here, I'm not going to go into detail about the schedule. Go ahead and read it over. The one thing I do want to note in week 4, which I forgot to add week 4 there in the header, we have a flex day on that Tuesday, and we can get behind sometimes. There's a lot of variation in student understanding around statistics. Some people really get it. Some people struggle with it a little more. So I tend to teach down to those students who struggle a little more. So what that means is sometimes we fall behind because I'm trying to catch everybody up. And so we have flex days, right? So we have a flex day week 4, which means that it's open. If we start getting behind on stuff, we'll make it up during that time. And then we have another flex day on week 8, and we will only be holding online discussion on Tuesdays on week 8. That's the week of Thanksgiving. And then at the end here, we have student resources. This is access and accommodation stuff. We have stuff for veterans, inclement weather, gender-neutral bathrooms, reflection room information, the lactation and baby changing locations, and other parenting student resources. Then we have a bunch of stuff on support services at the end here, the care team, diversity team, et cetera, et cetera. So feel free to read that and lean on this if you have needs or information, all right, or you need some information. So we are at 20 minutes, and I know I wanted to get into graduate school, so let me talk about that for a second. Actually, let me quickly talk about academia. So academia is a strange place, and I understand that. And particularly for non-traditional students, first-generation students, maybe first-generation immigrant students, higher education in the United States is a strange place. it's a professional place, and think of it as a professional place. Build relationships here. Build relationships with people like me, with your faculty members. If you are looking for some extracurricular activities, do some research. Find a professor who's doing research. We all do research or scholarship in some form, and see if they have space for you and see if they want to mentor you. The relationships you build here will last your whole life. I still have relationships with some of the professors that I took in undergraduate. They wrote me letters of recommendation to get into graduate school. That stuff is really important. A lot of students, and I was the same way, a lot of students think that what matters when you get out of here is your GPA and your standardized test scores. That is not true. Those may matter, but what really matters is the relationships that you build here. And again, those relationships with people like myself, people who can write you strong letters of recommendation, who can be a reference for you for a job. That stuff matters, right? And we have a lot of knowledge, and we're all experts in our fields. So have a conversation with us. As I mentioned earlier, if you're first in family to go to college, I know what that's like, and I know this institution and other higher education institutions are kind of like a labyrinth, and they're hard to navigate, and they're hard to understand, and the culture is strange. And I get it. It's still strange for me, as I mentioned. So chat with me. I'd be open to talking with you about that. And then finally, last but not least, graduate school, similar to what I just said, right? If you want to have a conversation around graduate school and you're interested in graduate school, please talk to me, and talk to me early. If you're thinking about applying to graduate school for the coming up academic year, so 2019, and you have no letters of recommendation, and you don't have a statement of purpose written yet, those applications are actually due starting December 1st. So you don't have a full year. You actually only have a couple of months. So have a conversation with me, talk with me, talk with other faculty members, because graduate school is applying to graduate school is way more than your resume, way more than your GPA, and way more than your standardized test scores. You need letters of recommendation, you need statement of purpose, and you need the work that goes into those things. I can't just write you a letter of recommendation because you've taken a class with me. I don't know enough about you, right? And other professors are the same. So get to know us and talk with us. All right. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. I really look forward to having you in class, and I think it's going to be a great quarter, and I look forward to seeing you. Have a good day.